grand rising, grand evening, grand afternoon. Check it. Declaration of wealth. $1 trillion declaration of wealth. My people, that is what we're harping in on. What we're tuning in on is wealth. Straight up. So, it's a cloudy day out here in New York, Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. We just had a little bit of sun, but now we are back into the clouds. So gather in, my people, gather in. Gather in. Because the message right now is all about wealth and prosperity, $1 trillion wealth and prosperity right now. This is the rising of our time. This is the rising of all the competent heirs on the planet. So, as we get deep into this rise of wealth and prosperity now, my people, as we get deep into the rise of the wealth and the prosperity, check it. Declaration of wealth. $1 trillion declaration of wealth. Now, how do we as a people create this $1 million declaration of wealth and prosperity? You got to tune in, and you got to be tuning in right now, because this is the time. There's no other time right now, my people, because the time is now. The planets are lined up: Mercury, Saturn, Venus, and a host of other planets. So basically, why is your paperwork not being answered? Why are you not receiving the documentation or your tax refunds that you've put in for, but you're not receiving them? That is why you're here right now. I'm going to break it down to you, okay? And I'm not charging you anything, but I'm going to break it down. Check it. To gain control of the minor account, often referring to the minor trust, Social Security account, or U.S. Treasury account tied to the BC, the birth certificate, SSN account, people using creditor-based or sovereignty-based legal theories often follow a structured process rooted in trust law, UCC filings, and fiduciary appointments. You need to stay in this live right now, because this is what you need to hear, because you're not going to hear it from anybody else. Step 1, establish your legal status as a guardian / trustee. You must lawfully declare yourself the guardian or executor over the minor estate, often represented by the all caps. So you have to be the guardian trustee over the SSN account, over, before I even jump there, check it. Step 1, establish your legal status as guardian trustee. You must lawfully declare yourself the guardian or executor over the minor estate, often represented by the all caps name. Documents that you have to use: Form 56, Notice of Fiduciary Relationship. Sometimes you can use the 56F if it's a financial institution. You need an affidavit of guardianship / executorship. You need a certificate of trust / an express trust declaration. Foreign trust, you can have your living estate express trust, but the foreign trust is what you really need. You can have your revocable trust. That is great too, to do a tax return with either the foreign trust, the foreign express trust, or the irrevocable express trust. The revocable trust you cannot do a tax return with. It's not even, because they still have the power to shut that trust down and snatch everything that you were trying to get through your 1040, because not even with a 1041 can you do a tax return with a revocable trust. So you need to have either your foreign trust or your irrevocable trust. You need a certificate of trust, express trust declaration. You need a cover letter to the IRS. You need a cover letter to the Treasury notifying your intent to manage the estate. You have to have a bonded private banker status. You have to have your own bank set up. Okay. Step 2. You have to file a financing statement as a secured party creditor, claim a lien or a controlling interest in the assets of the straw man, the minor estate. You have to have with that a UCC1, an addendum, an authentication of your birth certificate on the state and the federal level. That's optional, but it's stronger. It makes your case stronger, gives you more protection. Step 3, you need to notify all the agencies that once your fiduciary is set up in the IRS and your UCC filings are in place, you have to submit your paperwork into the IRS for fiduciary control and offsets. Via 1099 OID form, Form 56, a Form 56F, your trust EIN, your 2848. You could do an 8821. You need your 8822B. You need an 8856. The agent, that's the 8856, the agent over all the accounts. You need to get a withholding agent EIN number. You need a PTIN preparer through the IRS. And to get your PTIN number is $20. You need to have your PIN number set up for your tax returns. If you want, you can, create an account for the fire system. Now, you also need to contact, other than contacting the IRS first, you're going to have to contact the SSA, because you're going to have to, for any claims involving the SSS trust fund. You need to also contact the U.S. Department of Treasury for account access and offset authority. Those FS to use, you're going to have to fill them out, send them in. You're going to have to also contact the Federal Reserve for your notice of claim on the trust funds, because they take, all these agencies take your documentation and they take it to the discount window, which is the reserve. So that's how they get to cash in and change and because you've authorized it by putting your signature on every application. Every application that you sign is a contract, which gives them authorization to go to the discount window of the Federal Reserve and turn the contract in and have the Treasury convert that contract into cash that goes into the financial institutions that will create Federal Reserve notes and create whatever else they create. So, step 4, my people, begin acting as fiduciary. Begin operating from your private trust or bank with documents such as a 1099 OID, 1096 to report tax withheld, 1099A acquisition to acquire the debt, 1099B barter trade, 1099C cancellation of debt. You're going to also have a private bond or promissory notes as negotiable instruments. So your private bonds are coming from that 1099 OID that creates the bond, because that's the money. That's the tax return. So you're also going to need your declaration of authority, conservatorship in all dealings. So when you're on that Form 56, you know what I'm saying, and that 2848, POA, power of attorney, you're going to see conservatorship, receivership. You always want to be the receiver, especially on the 56F. You must be the receiver, because that's a financial banking institution. And if you have set up your bank, then you do a Form 50, you do a 56-F on your bank, because now you're the receiver and you're the one that's going to be collecting the funds from the Treasury through the Treasury contract applications that you'll be signing and filling out. So my people, those were like 5 steps that you can take towards getting these accounts together. Now you're going to need a cover letter, my people. You're going to need a cover letter. So basically, cover letter can go to whom it may concern. Please find attached my private trust declaration, affidavit of authority, and secured party financing statement. That's just an example. These documents establish my lawful standing as a living principal and trustee for my private estate trust. For inquiries, please correspond in writing to the address below, respectfully. Your name as the trustee. You're always signing these documents as trustee, because you are the power of attorney and you must be the trustee. So you have an affidavit of authority. Just an example, I, your name, the living man or woman, do hereby affirm and declare under penalty of perjury that I am the living principal, sole grantor, sole trustee of the blank blank estate, whatever your estate is, name is. I am the sole beneficiary and executor for the estate associated with the name blank blank, whatever your name is. I exercise full lawful authority over the legal person, entity, and any associated property. The affidavit affirms my lawful standing, capacity, and control of my living estate, dated on this day, whatever date it is, and then you sign it as the trustee. Okay, all these documents you must sign as trustee. This is the acceptance of trustee oath. You have to have an acceptance of trustee oath. I, blank blank, being of sound mind and lawful age of majority, do hereby accept the appointment as trustee of the blank blank estate express trust, whatever your trust is, established on whatever day you establish it on, by your name, the living man or woman, and grantor. I solemnly affirm that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of trustee to the best of my ability and in accordance with the terms and purpose of the trust, and with the intent to protect and administer the trust estate for the benefit of its rightful beneficiaries. This acceptance of trustee oath is made freely and voluntarily, and I affirm my commitment to uphold the fiduciary responsibilities entrusted to me. In witness of, I hereto set my hand and seal on this whatever day and year and month, and then you sign it as the trustee. You have to be the trustee. Then you have your living estate express trust, your foreign trust, your irrevocable trust, your living trust, whatever trust you're going to mention there. You have to have your trust up. Then you have to have your declaration of trust. For example, this declaration of trust is made and entered into on this month, day, year, by and between your name and the sole trustee, hereafter referred to as trustee, who hereby accepts and acknowledges the creation of this revocable living trust, or living or foreign grantor's trust, whatever trust you're going to use. You can put the name is the trust shall be known as whatever name your trust is. The trustee, the sole trustee, shall be whoever you are. Grantor, the living man or woman, your name, your date of birth, who reserves full power to revoke and amend this trust, your trust EIN number, your address of the trust, the purpose to hold, protect, manage, and distribute assets, and to exercise all lawful rights as the living estate. Revocability, the trust is revocable at the discretion of the grantor during his or her lifetime. If it's irrevocable, it's going to say something. It's going to say this trust is irrevocable. If it's a foreign grantor's trust, it's going to say that this trust is a foreign grantor's trust, yada. In witness of, the undersigned have executed this declaration of trust on this date, first written above. And then you're going to sign it as trustee. So, that's the declaration of trust. Now you have your notice of fiduciary appointment. So the notice of fiduciary appointment is to the Internal Revenue Service. And they have an Internal Revenue Service, 6401 Security Boulevard, Baltimore, Maryland. Did you know that's the same address as the SSA? What is that telling you? Okay, notice of fiduciary appointment is going to be the trust, whatever your trust name is. Okay, I blank blank your name, trustee, hereby give notice that I have been duly appointed and have accepted the role of fiduciary and trustee for the blank blank trust, the trust EIN number established on this month, day, and year. As the sole trustee and fiduciary, I am authorized to act in all capacities concerning the trust estate, to manage and protect all related property interests, and to correspond with the IRS on behalf of the trust. Okay, this notice is provided to update your records and to ensure that all future correspondence and tax matters are directed appropriately through the undersigned trustee. Respectfully submitted, your name as trustee, under that, the trust address, date, and then you're going to sign it as the trustee. Your UCC 1 financing statement. So basically, it's going to be the debtor in all caps, as on your certificate of birth. Some people don't even have all caps on their certificate of birth. So, you know, your address as the debtor, then you're going to have number 2 in that number 2 box on the UCC1. It's a secured party, and that's going to be your last name, first name, trustee. You see, a lot of people on that UCC financing statement forgot to put themselves as a secured party, as a trustee. They just put their last name and first name, but didn't give the title. So you wonder why some things may not be going right for you. So you might have to go back on your UCC1, and as you as a secured party, you're going to have to put trustee in that box. A lot of people forget that. Collateral. All assets, proceeds, accounts, instruments, and interests associated with the debtor, including but not limited to the birth certificate, social security account, and any derivatives thereof. So, you know, that template, the application, which is the contract between you, the state, and your trust and you. So you got to get it together with that. And always remember, secured party is the trustee, which is you, or whoever your trustee is. But who the fuck can you really trust nowadays? So I guarantee you need to be the trustee over all your shit. Straight up. Now, you have a UCC financing statement. And this is a notice of filing that you have to add this when you're sending it in to the IRS, to the SSA, to the, the other 2 people, Federal Reserve, and other company. To whom it may concern, this is a formal notice that the UCC1 financing statement has been duly prepared and is being filed with the New York State Secretary of State to publicly record your name, trustee, and it has to be your last name, first name, trustee, as the secured party creditor over all property, proceeds, accounts, instruments, and derivatives thereof associated with the all caps name on the birth certificate, the BC. All parties are hereby noticed to update their records accordingly and to direct any further inquiries to the undersigned. The undersigned is you, the trustee. Respectfully, your name, last name, first name, trustee, and then your trust, the irrevocable or the foreign trust, or your living estate or your living trust. So you may want to do all 3 on a UCC financing statement at one time to save money, straight up. And you got to file those UCCs in New York, Maryland, and your whatever other state that you may be located in. But it has to be in New York, and it has to be because Maryland is the hub of the Department of Taxation of the IRS. That is why you must, whatever you do, you always file a UCC financing statement in the state of Maryland. To file in Maryland, it's $25. To file in New York, it's $20. But you need both. So the affidavit of ownership and claim of title. So you would be saying something like, I, your name, the living man or woman, do hereby solemnly affirm and declare under penalty of perjury that I am the true and lawful owner and holder in due course of all rights, title, and interest in and to the legal entity styled as your all caps name on the birth certificate, including in any all associated trust or bond interest derived from the certificate of birth and social security number. I am the sole grantor and trustee of whatever trust you have. The trust EIN number established on the month, day, and year, which holds all lawful title and right to the property interest described herein. This affidavit of ownership serves as lawful notice and rebuttal to any and all contrary claims. Any unauthorized use of my trust or estate property is hereby denied and rebutted. This affidavit may be relied upon any agency, bank, or individual for the purpose of record, correction, estate administration, and protection of my living estate. I affirm that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and behalf, executed on this whatever day it is of whatever month it is and the year. The signature, last name, first name, trustee, or first name, last name, trustee, or whoever your trustee is. Under that, the name of the trust. Under that, the address of the trust. So, my people, the process is a very lengthy process. This is a process where you have to have money. If you don't have money, the process is going to be long and drawn out. Okay? Now, that is why this is a $1 trillion declaration, because the process is paperwork. You're taking care of chattel paperwork. Okay, now, do you know that the mail-in application for a copy of your birth certificate, the vault copy, a lot of people don't know about this, but you can, instead of going to vital statistics, you know what I'm saying? This is the new and improved way that you get all your document, because, the Gene Keatons, they dropped it, but it's a lot of old information that doesn't stand up to today. So it's always great to update your records, and I have all the updated information. So my people, the total fee for one copy of the birth certificate is $30. So now, vital check, right? If you mail this in, a certified copy processing by mail, enclosed $30 per copy. Now, they send it to New York State Department of Health, Bureau of Vital Records Certification Unit, P.O. Box 2602, Albany, New York, 12220-2602. Now, this is the mail-in application for a copy of birth certificate. Okay, this is the New York State Department of Health, Bureau of Vital Records. Now, you have to understand what I'm saying real quick. If I show you the document, right? You see the document? This is the document. You see it, right? The document. You have to have your name. When you sign it, it has to be signed, my people. Are you listening? Because this is vital. I'm telling you, this is some vital shit right here. You have to sign it as trustee. When you're ordering your birth certificate, sign it as the trustee. Your name with TTEE at the end of your name. Because now you're changing the record at Vital Statistics. When they take your application and they punch it into the system and it goes on their record file, it's going to be on record file now as your name, trustee, not just as their name that they had taken over, your name they took over. They can't take over a trustee, because the trustee is always in control of the property. The property is the birth certificate. And what does the birth certificate hold? the assets, all the assets, all the securities, everything that has been traded. So if I was you, I would go back online and ask for a mail-in application for the copy of birth certificate, because that is the document you need to sign as trustee. When you order the birth certificate online at Vital Statistics, you're not signing it as trustee. You're just ordering a copy. You're not giving your signature as the trustee. Very vital in this game, my people. Trustee, you have to have the TTEE behind your name, because that is going to change the game on record for you. Now they have to treat you differently. All the correspondence goes back to the trustee. This will help knock the trustee that's on your account off. And you have to do that through the IRS. You have to revoke the trustee and now reassign the trustee to you. That's why it's an assignment. Okay? It's an assignment, my people. Now, you got to read it. It's going to tell you that you need to send in a copy of your driver's license with it, or a passport, or a government photo ID. If you have a utility bill, your cell phone bill, whatever. But basically, they take that, if you got a passport, they'll take it, yada. Copy of that social, they'll take it. But the key here is that you sign that document as trustee. That's going to change the game up for you. Guaranteed. Mind blower, okay? Mind blowing, my people. It changes the game up like a mofo. Straight up. Now, you got that 56F. You know what I'm saying? When you create your bank, we have a private bankers class here. You want to get in contact with us, we got a private bankers class. We got a post office postmaster class. We got the secured party class. We got I got several classes here. 407-300-5377. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State. And we can help you with this paperwork straight up. We can assist you. Now that 56F, my people, once you set up your private bank, that's when you're going to file your 56F. Because you have to file this 56F. You need your trust set up. You need your bank set up. Yes, a trust is the bank. You can do it trust and bank, ENT, however you want to do it. But the bottom line is that you need a 56F. You can put the 56F on your trust, and you can put the 56F on your bank. What I'm trying to tell you is that you need that bank to stand by itself. Because you see how the banks stand on their own out here? Your bank stands on its own. DBA your bank in, you can LLC your bank, you can put your bank in as a corporation. However you want to do it. It depends on your pocket, how deep, your pockets go. Now, the quickest way to get that all up in there is a DBA. You put a DBA on your private bank. Once you DBA that private bank in, you go put a 56F on that private bank. Straight up. And remember, who's the fiduciary? The trustee. Whenever it comes up, my people, you are the fiduciary, and you always put your name as the trustee. TTEE. Straight up. That is how you control the game. The trustee holds the property. The trustee holds the property for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So the beneficiary is also you, because you're in your own trust. Nobody cannot tell you. That is why you do a living trust, because in the living trust, you can be all three parties. Okay? All three hats, all three assignments. Okay? Trustee, benefit, and the executor is the fiduciary. You know what I'm saying? So, my people out there, this is the United States Private Enterprise Free State. 407-300-5377. We got that private bankers class. We got that postmaster class. We got that shit. I got so many classes. You know, I got that postmaster class. I got the private bankers class. We got the secured parties class. We got the I got this other class. The class is really hot. You got to call us up. We can give you a listing of all those classes we got if you want to get down, because this is all private. You cannot learn this in the public. This is a private teaching. Okay? And this is the United States Private Enterprise Free State. We are on the record. Okay? You can tap into we are a nation state. You can look up on MicroWiki, find us, and you'll see everything. It's everything is there. We get down just like that. Yeah, there is a fee for the classes, my people. There's a fee, but it's a very inexpensive fee. We don't dig out nobody's pocket. So, on that 56F, who's the authority? That's in part 2. The authority. Who's the authority? Other evidence of creation of fiduciary relationship. Original grantor and transferor and trustee. Okay? You see, right now, if you haven't, declared and changed your declaration of status on a record, there's a trustee at the SSA that sits over your account. I was speaking to one chick, and she said that she's in a battle right now with the SSA because she did a tax return. She said, she's going for all the money that, that's owed to her. She put all her OIDs in, 1099A, 1099-6. She sent in the letters that she needed to send in, a lot of stuff. So when you really are starting to take over that SSA account, the SSA is going to find out. You may get a letter or you may get a phone call. And they're going to ask you your trust, especially if you're receiving benefits from the SSA. They're going to want to see your trust, but they don't have rights to see your whole trust. And you're going to have to put in documentation and the law stating why they can't see your whole trust, because they're trying to see if you're making any money off the trust. Bitch, the trust is private, motherfucker. Straight up. Who the fuck are you to tell me that you want to see my entire trust? This is what the chick was telling me. I'm like, yo, it's deep. And who is the SSA to tell somebody that they have the right to see their whole private trust? And she said to me that the representative told her that the trust that the SSA is a federal agency. And who gives a fuck if federal agency? My trust is private, motherfucker. Who the fuck are you? There are laws that state even a federal agency. It's in the fucking Constitution, bitch ass. Straight up. So you're going to have to put in the laws why the agencies cannot see your whole trust, because there's trying to find ways to pierce your trust. So the game is on. Once you start taking over and saying that you're the trustee executor and all of this stuff that you're going to throw titles at them, they're going to be highly upset that you're snatching an account away from them that has trillions of dollars in it. Because this is $1 trillion declaration. That's what we're talking about right here. It's $1 trillion declaration, my people. Therefore, you must stand the fuck up for your rights right the fuck now. This is 2025. If you flip that motherfucker backwards, okay, flip 2025 backwards, my people. What is 2025 backwards? Write it down right now. 5202. And what year is that? You know what I'm saying? So, my people, you need to wake the fuck up, and you need to wake the fuck up now. You think that you have to take over the Treasury account. The Treasury Direct account is where you're going to have to put up your trust. You're going to have to send in a 4422. I'm sorry. You have to send in a 1422. Sorry, it's a 1522. You're going to have to send in the 5444 if the account is locked. You're going to have to send in what is that? The 1522, the 5444, and it's another document you got to send in, because you're going to have to show proof of your trust. You're going to have to send your trust, the declaration of trust, the trust certificate into Treasury Direct, along with all of the documents that I mentioned earlier in this live. You're going to have to send the same thing into the SSA, the Social Security Administration. You're going to have to send the same thing into the Federal Reserve. You're going to have to send the same thing into the IRS. Those are the 4 agencies that you're going to have to put your trust in their record. They have to see a copy of your trust in their record, because they have to know, are you making money from this trust? All of this bullshit they have to know. And in reality, then you start telling them that you know about the sistaflame100 trust. Most of the representatives don't know about a sistaflame100 trust. They have nothing. They know nothing about it, my peeps. Nothing. You're going to have to really do your due diligence. You're going to have to do your work. You're going to have to really dig in deep on this, because the trust is everything. You as a trustee is everything. You as the fiduciary is everything. You as a conservatorship, okay? You as the conservatorship. Then you got the other 2 that you have to, this is a lot of shit you got to do. So this is not a fast process. The UCC is a 5 years, and you renew it. It's even by the time you get to your 5th year, you still filing paperwork. Listen to other gurus out there that was telling you some bullshit. They fucked up on their own too, and they was there to tell you. Yeah, they was there to tell you the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's all bullshit, my people. You really have to start to learn how to do your own paperwork, and that's what we teach you here at the United States Private Enterprise Free State. We teaching you how to do your own fucking paperwork. Paperwork with your authenticity is key to the game, because everybody's paperwork is different. Your seals for your trust is different from my seals to my trust. That is why you cannot go under anybody's trust. You cannot be put under anybody's state. Okay, we have that class also where we help you to create your court, your state, because you're going to need a court and you're going to need a state to do business. to discharge debt, to set off traffic tickets and fight traffic tickets. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need all that. And that's what we're here. This is the place where we help you. You know, we've helped a lot of people have come through the United States Private Enterprise Free State with paperwork. And, you know, they're on their way. They have their court set up. They have their bank set up. You know, they have their trust set up. They have, some of them have their post offices set up. But, you know, it's a process. But that's why you got to give us a call, 407-300-5377. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State. You know, this is what we do. You know, we over here getting real on a nigga. You see this right here, right? What it say? Nissan. You know, we showing people how they how to get their houses, where, you know, once you start to understand the process, you start to understand how to set the paperwork up, you don't need nobody but you yourself and I, me, myself, and I, straight up. So, yeah, what's up? Peace to that person. How you doing out there, Lewis? Yo, I know, give me a fire, give me a fire emoji, give me the nines, give me the thumbs up, because you know I'm spitting real life truth right here. You know what I'm saying? We can show you how to set up these accounts. We can show you how to set up all your accounts, where now you make the phone call. You go and you get that credit for your businesses. You go get that house on your own. You don't need a mortgage dealer. You don't need none of that. You got your own bank. You got your own trust. Okay, you got your entities now that can do all your legwork for you. That's how we roll here at the United States Private Enterprise Free State. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to all my people. Welcome to all my people. You know what I'm saying? Peace up, one up. Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. So let me know if you want to get down with these classes, because you know what I'm saying? This is $1 trillion declaration, my people. Your wealth is your birthright. Your birthright to the heirship. You are the heir of your ship. Your ship, your bank. Your ship, your trust. Your ship, your court, your state. That's all your ship. Your ship, your post office. Okay? This is your vessel. These are your pieces on the board. You need your pieces on the board. You know, we moving pieces on the board. That's all we do. Is that we move pieces on a board to obtain $1 trillion declaration. Okay? And I will constantly say it over and over again. $1 trillion declaration. You got to have $1 trillion declaration mindset. You know, you got to be wanting this. You got to really be wanting it. You know what I'm saying? You know, land and property, straight up. To keep the land and the property, you got to have your own vehicles on it. You know what I'm saying? Your own fleet of trucks to keep your land and property up. That's what it's all about. Land and property, my people. Land and property. You got to be down with it. You got to want it as much as you want life. And life is this process. This process is not for the feeble-minded. This process is only for people that are ready to self-govern. And we can show you how to self-govern here at the United States Private Enterprise Free State, because we self-govern. You know, to self-govern is not easy. It's a mental process. It's a mental thing. If your mental is not ready for this, then it's not for you at the present time. It's only for those people that are ready to self-govern themselves, ready to take the reign and control over their assets, over their life, over their property. Okay? And your property can be anything. Your children, your marriage, shit, anything. You know what I'm saying? So you really gotta stay in tune to what you really think you know. Stay in tune to a higher self. Stay in tune to a $1 trillion declaration. If you have to write it down on paper, open up your notebook and pad right now, and you need to write it down. You need to write down. Talk. You know what I'm saying? You need to write down $1 trillion declaration. You need to write down a declaration of wealth. Your declaration is going to start with your trust, court, state, whatever. Start it. And you have to gain control right now. You have to gain control of the minor estate. Okay? The minor estate is the BC. The BC sits in the Treasury Direct. The BC sits in the IRS. The BC sits in the Federal Reserve. The BC is sitting in that other, what is the other spot? The BC sits in the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Department Treasury. It sits in the IRS, and it sits in the SSA. So the birth certificate sits in those 4 agencies. So in those 4 agencies, they have your BC number. So that's an account. That account, most of the time, should go on your OIDs, your A's, your B's. It's according to what you're filing. So if you have a QSIF number, and sometimes you can find the QSIF number on your tax transcript to the account that you did an OID on, because they'll put a QSIF number by that account on your tax transcript. And you have 4 tax transcripts in the IRS when you open up your IRS account. You have to open up your IRS account. You have to open up your SSA account. You have to open up your Treasury Direct account. You have to open up your post office account. You have to open up your passport account. You know, you have to open the account up to show that the living man or woman has opened up the account, and not a trustee that is administering or managing your account, because you have to take it over. Yes, these Negroes are going to be highly upset when you start taking over your account and it's done the right way. Yes, you may get some pushback, but you got to keep moving forward. Always forward, nigga. Always forward. Straight up. Because if you let them try to railroad you and snatch your shit again from you, they got you again. You go back into slavery status, back into having no fucking standing in law, back to being a black African American, and hell fucking no, you need to be a national. Okay? Because you were a national before they switched your ass out 4 days into the after birth, switched your ass right into a citizen. So, $1 trillion declaration, my nigga. $1 trillion declaration, okay? Hello to all my niggas out there in the chat. Private chat, peace out. I know y'all on it. You gotta call me up later. 407-300-5377. $1 trillion declaration. You know what I'm saying? $1 trillion declaration. Step 1. Establish your legal status as guardian trustee. Okay? Straight up. Step 2. File a financing statement. as a secured party creditor. Step 3, notify all the agencies that you are the fiduciary over the account. Let them know. A new boss has come into town. I am the new sheriff. You know what I'm saying? And you niggas gotta go. Get the fuck up off my $1 trillion legacy. Okay? The declaration starts here with me. The real one, nigga. Get the hell up off my account. What you got over here? Step 4. Begin acting as the fiduciary by opting your private trust or your private bank. Okay? And how do you operate from the private bank and the trust? You have to start filing your 1099 OIDs, your 1096, you know what I'm saying? Your 1099A, your 1099B, your 1099C. You got to have your private bonds, your promissory notes as negotiable instruments. You got to have your declaration of authority, conservatorship. It's that other ship. There's 2 other ships that you got to be. You got to be the conservator. Oh, man, that shit just roll right off my tongue. But it's right there, but I'm forgetting it right now because I got so much going on in my head. You got step 5. You know what I'm saying? Monitor and respond. So if they send you something, rebut it right back. Don't even sleep on that shit. Rebut it immediately. Because they're going to say ignorance of the law is no excuse. And we have given you either 10, 15, 30 days. So you got to rebut this shit real quick. You know what I'm saying? Stand. If you don't stand, then you stand for nothing and you have no rights. When you stand, you show that you're standing for something and that you are asserting and enforcing your rights as a national. And if you have a birth certificate here in the United States, you are an American national. And it depends on the state you're from. New Yorker, Californian, boom. So me, I'm a New Yorker. I'm an American national New Yorker on the record. So my people, if you want to get at the United States private enterprise free state, we got this private bankers class. The private bankers class is $100. We got that secured party class. The secured party class is $100. We got that post office, that postmaster class. That's $150. We got the court class. That's $150. Where we teach you court and state, everything, how to set it up. You start fighting your own cases through your own court and state. You don't ever walk into their courtroom unless you know that you are winning, or you're going to file a DBA or something like that, or you're going to put shit on the record at the county with the clerk. Straight up. House, your mortgage, your car, your deed, whatever. So if you got court and state set up, you don't ever have to walk into their courtroom. You sit down in your own setting, write up your documentation, and you send it in by either certified mail, return receipt. You can send it in, certificate of mailing, to show proof of sending. But if you send it in through certified mail, return receipt, that is, documentation of tracking everything, and it's professionally done through the post office. Registered mail, you would use for securities, mortgages, other things that are securities, bonds, shit like that. So, my people, This is the United States private enterprise free state. We gave you a boatload, a mouthload, an earful of information that, you should just take and be free, straight up. Because closed mouths don't get fed. You're going to have to open your mouth up and start speaking. And you speak by picking up your pen and voicing your thoughts onto paper, sending it in, and getting the job done. That's what this shit is all about, straight up. So, you need a cover letter. You need an affidavit of authority. You need an acceptance. You need an acceptance of trustee oath. You need your living estate express trust. You need your irrevocable trust, and you need your foreign grantors trust. You need 3 trusts. Straight off the rip, you need 3 trusts, okay? And that's real talk. You need 3 trusts. You got to set them up. Takes some time, but you got to do it. You need a declaration of trust for each one of those trusts. So you must have a declaration of trust for each one of your trusts. What else are you going to need? You are notice of fiduciary appointment. So you got to have your notice of fiduciary appointment. That is a must, my people. You're going to have to have a UCC financing statement. That is a must because that gets sent in with all your documents to the 4 agencies, the SSA, the IRS, the Federal Reserve, and that other agency. You're going to have a notice of UCC financing statement. So you're going to need a notice of that. Okay? You're going to need a Form 56, the fiduciary. You're going to need a 56F when you set up your bank. You also need a 56F for your trust. Okay? You're going to need the form. You need to fill out that Form 8856. That is the agent over the accounts. You must be the agent over your accounts. Why are you going to let somebody else be the agent over your account? And that's done with an 8856. You're also going to need a 2848 power of attorney, my people. You have to have power of attorney over all your shit. You may need an 8821. That's authorization. You may also need, what else, my people? You're going to have to get all those documents done. All of it. You're going to want to get at least 3 authenticated birth certificates because you're going to want to put each birth certificate goes into a trust because you are the trustee over that birth certificate. And it goes into each one of your trusts. It goes into the irrevocable trust, the foreign grantors trust, and it goes into the living trust. You are going to want to have the FS forms. Those are the treasury forms. You need to set up your treasury. So you got to look into the Treasury Direct, start pulling up those FS forms, fill them out, send them in once you get certain things done so that now you could start to move the paperwork through the Treasury and receive through the Treasury. Because once you have set up things properly, now you can submit the paperwork at the Federal Reserve window, have your trust on file, and they know who the fuck you are. You know, you got a lot of people coming back saying, well, I did this, I did that, nothing happened, oh, that's all bullshit. Yeah, because you've missed a lot of steps. We've all have missed a lot of steps. checkers is not chess. This is a game of fucking life. Straight the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? You either gonna sink, stay a slave, barely can breathe, head just above water, or you going to take control of your whole entire estate and control it. That's the game of life. Fuck chess and fuck checkers. Okay? I'm playing life, motherfucker. Okay? I'm in this motherfucking matrix right the fuck now. Living, eating, shitting, pissing, breathing, eating. Chess is played on a board with pieces that are plastic. I'm not a plastic motherfucker. Okay? I am a real life people. Okay? We shit, we piss, we sweat, we do all types of shit. You fought, you do every fucking thing. So this is a game of life. If a nigga fucking come to me talking about stop playing checkers, this is start playing chess, not checkers. Fuck that. Fuck chess and fuck checkers. I don't give a shit about a king or motherfucking queen. England can stay where the fuck England want to stay, because the motherfucking king and queen of England don't got shit over me, nor do the motherfucking Pope. Straight up. This game, I'm controlling. Straight up. I self-govern. I self-law am master, motherfucker. Islam. Straight up. Okay. You see what it says. Okay. We are in control of the paperwork. You go in and you get your own motherfucking vehicle. You get your own motherfucking land. You get your own motherfucking houses and townhouses and condos based off of, what do you want to know? Your own tax transcript. The tax transcript is your negotiable dealership. Your negotiable instrument is your tax transcript when you go to get a mortgage, when you go to buy land, okay? Your tax transcript is your negotiable instrument. It is your barter, your trade, because your tax transcript, and you walk in with your tax transcript of account. You have 4 tax transcripts inside the IRS portal when you open up your IRS account. You always take your tax transcript of account because that's what's on the account right now. Your tax transcript, when you start doing your tax returns, your AGI should change. That is why you must do a tax filing all the time. When you self-govern, you are keeping the books. And who's the bookkeeper? The IRS. No, they're not your fucking friend. And whoever told you that the fucking IRS is your friend is a motherfucking liar. Why haven't you got a tax refund yet if they're your fucking friend? So, you are the controller of your vessel. The vessel has a tax transcript, an AGI, a tax of account, a statement of account. Okay, that statement of account is what you show, because now you're self-governing. You are over the SSN. So you can now use your SSN. The SSN will be on the account, the tax transcript account, a record of account with the SSN that you have done tax return on. You hand that in to the trustee at the dealership to the trustee of the mortgager where you're going to buy your home or condo, because now they have something to negotiate with the bank with. Because a lot of people were getting stuck. They didn't know how to move the money because they didn't have any money to move. Do you understand that when you start to get the process right and you start to understand the process and you're filing your paperwork, the trustee moves with the tax transcript? That's the property. That's where all the assets sit in the IRS under the account statement with an income, your changed AGI. So, some people may have a resurrected AGI as 500 million. You take that account transcript into a car dealership, and you will have the pick of whatever vehicle you want, whatever house you want. If you have an AGI of 5 million on your tax transcript. So the goal is the assets, is the credits. The credits are your assets. Let me break it down to the down. Your tax transcript is your key to financial freedom. That is the $1 trillion declaration. Get with the United States Private Enterprise Free State, 407 300 5377. That's the $1 trillion declaration, my people. If you want to know how to move, how the $1 trillion declaration moves, that's how you move. But to get to that status, you gotta file paperwork. So the dumb ass that told you that you don't need to authenticate your BC is a lying motherfucker, because you gotta have an authenticated BC to take over the account. You cannot initiate any authority without an authenticated BC. Because if you don't authenticate the BC, you have to authenticate at the county, you have to authenticate at the state. If you are already armed, if you're already military, you don't have to authenticate at the federal level because it's already authenticated. The $1 trillion declaration, my people, is the tax transcript. Once you have filed a tax refund and you have assessed your account, those 1099 OIDs that you filed will go back to the IRS. That will be on your tax transcript in 30 days. So all the OIDs that you put on your tax transcript, because now you have taken over the account and you are assessing the taxes, that's part of your account takeover, because that's the $1 trillion game. That's the declaration, is the tax transcript. The tax transcript is how you walk in to any car dealership, to any mortgager, to any business or bank. You hand them the tax transcript because now you have a new AGI on file. Okay? Your AGI is new. It could be in the millions, it could be in the thousands, it could be in the trillions. It's how you have learned to do a tax refund, because everything is taxes. Believe that shit. When you go to the store to buy anything, you're taxed. Unless you have your card and you can show them your card and you become tax exempt. But right now, we're talking real game. Everything is a tax, okay? So play the game. You're not playing checkers, you're not playing chess. You're playing the game of life where you are the real people, you are the real man or woman that is the trustee who holds the assets. You are controlling the B. You're controlling the SSN, okay? You are controlling the Federal Reserve because that's your account. You are controlling everything. Once you are in control of all of that, you file a tax return with a new AGI that is in the thousands, the 100,000s, the millions, the trillions. Some people have billions. Now you have bargaining power on the game of life board. So now you can walk into any bank with your tax transcript. Always walk, always travel with the tax transcript because you walk into the bank, you want credit. Here's my tax transcript, teller or head banker. This is my tax transcript. The banker sees your bargaining power. They're the ones that can go in to the IRS account and transfer those credits into the bank's account for you now to use. You can take that tax transcript into the car dealership. It now gives you the bargaining power for the car dealership to not deny you anymore and go and take those tax transcripts to the bank and say, here's the tax transcript. The bank reads your new tax transcript. They know who the fiduciary is. There's no more fiduciary over you because you did the paperwork in the IRS. You filed the OID. You have the bargaining power now to go in and act as the trustee. Sign as the trustee. Go get your new vehicle. Go get it. Whatever you want. You got the tax transcript. Go get the new house. But it doesn't. No, listen to what I'm saying. Fuck the goddamn credit score. The credit score don't fucking matter. The credit score don't matter when you have a tax transcript of account with a new AGI on file because the IRS is the final records of your financial wealth declaration. Your tax transcript is the declaration of your wealth. And only those that are doing the process and that are at certain steps know this. So, my people, you need to get with the United States Private Enterprise Free State 407 300 5377. We can help you along this journey, you know, change that AGI up, you know, start traveling with your tax transcript to go and get these deals and seal these deals with a tax transcript instead of trying to seal a deal with a goddamn pay stub. A tax transcript is will help you in the case of a pay stub and a low credit score because they look at your tax. The bank is going to look at everything. But what outweighs everything is the tax transcript, because that's the AGI. That's your gross income on file with the IRS on the record worldwide, internationally, nationally, locally, straight up. So you must go and open up your IRS account as an individual, get your POA account open up. Once you open up that individual IRS account, you're going to open up your POA account, power of attorney account. You're going to open up your PTIN account. You're going to open up your agent account. It's all connected, because that is part of an account takeover. Okay, when certain people was talking about account takeover, they didn't tell you everything. You know, it's a lot to take over the account, but you have to be ready and fully competent to take over your account. You know, they're going to see on record within the IRS, because everything is done through the IRS, no matter contrary to what anybody says. Everything is done through the IRS. And now you see the ID Me account is tied to the SSA. So if you log into your SSA, the system knows that you logged into the SSA that day. The system knows that you logged into your IRS account and any other IRS accounts that you do. You know, the system knows, because everything is linked now. That is what the one world order is about. It's linking all accounts to one account through ID Me. Everything is done through ID Me. And when you start to go in through ID Me, they're authenticating you from the jump. So that is why the tax transcript is key to the game. That is the $1 trillion declaration, is your tax transcript. It doesn't matter what your credit score is. If you have a tax transcript that reads that you make $300,000, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, $1 trillion, the bank looks at you differently. It doesn't matter what outfits you have on walking into the establishment. The tax transcript says something different about who the fuck you really are. The tax transcript speaks loud volumes than your outfit. There are somebody that says, Moors do good, Moors be good, Moors look good. Okay, that's great. But I've seen people walk into places with rundown sneakers on and some jeans and a t-shirt, but the tax transcript, and they walked out with the property because of the tax transcript, my nigga. The tax transcript. These gurus trying to milk you out of money over here don't tell you about the tax transcript speaks louder than an outfit. Okay? The tax transcript speaks louder than a credit score. The tax transcript speaks louder than your fucking hairdo. Okay? The tax transcript speaks louder than hair done, nails did, and all of that bullshit. The tax transcript. You can't hide behind clothing and fake makeup and fake hairdos and weaves. You can't hide behind that. A tax transcript tells everything about the SSN. You want to control that SSN? You fucking file a tax refund, a tax return, and change that transcript up. That is what speaks volume to a banker. Okay? Into the mortgage company with a tax transcript 500,000, a million. You know, okay, if you're going for $1 million house, you need to get the tax transcript up, and you need to at least have 5 million. If you're looking to buy $1 million home, your tax transcript should say 6 million, 5 million for you to buy $1 million home. Straight up. It's about the tax transcript, the record of account. You have 4 transcripts held within your individual account. So you're going to download the account transcript, and that's what's going to send you on your way. Straight up. So my people, you know, anybody that's listening to me right now, you really know what I'm talking about. You're going to go in and you're going to do what you got to do to get this shit done. Straight up. I don't know how many people are listening to me. You know, it is what it is. I really don't know on how many people listen, but I just dropped the game. You know, this is all private information. You cannot go anywhere public. And to learn this game is a private game. So my people, you're going to have to brush yourself off. Wake yourself the fuck up. Pull yourself out of your slumber. Pull yourself out of the sleep. You're going to have to get with it, because these niggas right now, it's a whole different ball game, my people. The Jiggy Keatons, yeah, they gave some great information, but they didn't tell you the real deal. I just dropped the real Willy Bo on you. I just ripped you in another hole. Wherever you didn't have a hole, you got a hole now. Because I done told you how to change the game up. You know, you can change the game up just like that. Just like that. And it's all about a $1 trillion declaration. And what's the $1 trillion declaration? It's a tax transcript. So, to all my people out there, stay up, stay one, stay love, stay light. You know, keep your head studying, keep your mind open, because now is the time to reap the harvest of anything that you're doing. The harvest is now, my people. The harvest is now. You will have to wake up to a reality of wealth. You will have to wake up to a reality of prosperity. Prosperity and wealth is your birthright. You know what I'm saying? It is your right. It is your inherent right to be free. It is your inherent right to be wealthy. I only come in and I dip out real quick. If you want to get down with this info and this higher intelligence, you need to call the United States Private Enterprise Free State. I'm out, my nigga. I'm out.